that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth. What truth?
From false claims of FEMA stealing money from donations to the government controlling the weather from Antarctica.
The amount of misinformation just continues to grow unnecessarily. And it's just really creating an interference for us to be able to do the job that we need to do. It prevents them from actually coming in and asking for help.
But we also pressed the FEMA administrator about criticism of the federal response.
The administration was slow to get started. We're only beginning to see that mobilize about a week too late.
Including from Helene survivors.
I hear them say on the radio that FEMA's here, but I haven't seen them.
So first it was deep fakes, and now the White House is spinning another deflection as they take heat over their federal hurricane response. Watch.
There's a lot of misinformation. And I beseech you, I beg you to please not pay attention to it.
Sir, what's the risk of political figures sharing misinformation during this time?
It misleads people. It puts people in circumstances where they panic, where they really worry.
So I'm going to divorce the disinformation that is being spread from any one individual and just say this. Disinformation harms survivors of a disaster because they lose trust in their government.
There's not enough money right now for people in North Carolina who need it. That's not misinformation.
Wait, no, that is your whole premise of the question is misinformation, sir. What you don't, yes, it's misinformation, and it's there.
That you don't like misinformation.
Kaylee, this is like the boy who cried wolf. There's actual disinformation out there. But when you keep crying disinformation, when you really need to warn the public, they don't listen.
Yeah, I thought that exactly yesterday. This discredits your, any assertion you make about disinformation when you are saying that basic questions from the press are misinformation. When you're press secretary, you have a crisis on your hands. Very simple three-part thing you do. Number one, call DHS. I would call the Department of Homeland Security and say, I want a TikTok of everything you've done. I want to know the level of resources you have. Just like I did with COVID. You call the supply chain coordinator, Admiral Plavchek. Let me know what PPE you sent out. Number two, you go talk to the president. Number three, you go talk to the press. What you don't do is scream misinformation. That's what you do when the facts aren't on your side. And if you do think something's misinformation, don't scream misinformation. Challenge the premise of the question, like I would do with Jim Acosta. Hey, Jim, you're quoting Trump there, but you left out the second part of the quote. What's the second part of the quote? And he would never have that on hand. Problem is, Peter Doocy was exactly right. Facts were on his side. 157 million is going to Lebanon when people are hurting here. He had the facts. Karine Jean-Pierre had superfluous talking points.
Let's talk about that a little bit, because I was just there in North Carolina. How's the PR on this? Because when I went there on the ground, you see the people crying out for help. You see the private organizations that are on the ground. Is the White House accomplishing anything? Is the American public believing them when they say FEMA is there and they're managing this perfectly?
No, I mean, you saw it with your own eyes. You said this morning, you see unmarked vehicles. Where is the government personnel on the ground? That doesn't come from FEMA on the ground. They're doing good work. It comes from the top. It said all when DHS, when Mayorkas said, we don't have enough, we think, to get through hurricane season. Why? Money's going to Lebanon and people outside of the places that need it. 31 million Americans in disaster zones in this country. 31 million, 200 counties. And we're
that Trump is a threat to democracy. How many times you heard that? But as usual, they're just projecting. Now, these folks are the ones who want to shred the Constitution. And first and foremost, they want to ditch the First Amendment.
If people go to only one source and the source they go to is sick and, has an agenda and they're putting out disinformation, our First Amendment stands as a major block to the ability to be able to just, hammer it out of existence. So what we need is to win the ground, win the right to govern by hopefully having, winning enough votes that you're free to be able to implement change.
Joining me now, Victor Davis Hanson, senior fellow at the Hoover Institution. Victor, if Kamala wins, what will this hammering out of free speech he references look like?
Well, it'll look like what we saw with the warping of the FBI working with Twitter and Facebook, but it'll be on steroids. I mean, he's really complaining that 85% of the media, the print media, all of the network news, PBS, which is 85% of the delivery of the news, isn't enough, and they want total control because their message doesn't appeal to 51%. So they open the border to get new constituents. They deny who they are. They act as if they're centrist for 90 days during an election. And now that's not enough. They want to suppress free speech because they don't have a total monopoly on it.
When the deception comes, if you're not a born-again believer, you'll be swept away with it. The deception will be greater than you ever imagined in your life. It is going to be profound as to what happens. People in the high places are Satanists. They're Illuminati. Spiritual power in high places that will bring about a one-world government. And by doing that, they intend to rule the world. And they have the help of a whole mass of demonic spirits who are able to perform all kinds of miracles, deceptive miracles, manifestations, and all of this stuff to help them to bring about that one world government. And the goal is so that they can put one man up and worship him as God, the Antichrist.
I want to stay on this this government and what's happening around the world and the big government stuff. Madison, it's not getting any better. It feels like, you know, this whole dystopia thing is a real thing. Maybe a few years ago, no one would have thought, but it does feel that way.
Absolutely. And I mean, I know one thing we wanted to talk about was the Telegram CEO, because we do have the news. Telegram now, they say they're going to give more data to governments for criminal activity, right? But the reason that this came about is because the Telegram CEO was arrested in France. And because of that, now he's out on bail. Explain to me how the governments in Europe want to say, give us information from criminals. And by the way, the way we're going to do that is by turning you into a criminal.
Right. Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. These are the folks that we're supposed to trust with that data.
Rebecca, could it get so bad, honestly, that at some point a Western government arrests Elon Musk, for instance?
If he loses, man, what?
Dude, if he loses, I'm
It does seem that way. You can't just be like, yo,
yeah, I'm like, how long do you think my prison sentence is going to be? Do you think? Will I see my children? I don't know. I mean, my view is that if Trump doesn't win this election, it's the last election we're going to have. So my prediction is if there's another 4 years of a Dem administration, they will legalize so many illegals that are there that the next election, there won't be any swing states. And we'll be a single party country.
Like, text people now. Now. And then make sure they actually do vote. If they don't, this will be the last election. That's my prediction.
Concerning them which are asleep, that ye sorrow not, even as others which have no hope. For if we believe that Jesus died and rose again, even so them also which sleep in Jesus will God bring with him. For this we say unto you by the word of the Lord, that we which are alive and remain unto the coming of the Lord shall not prevent them which are asleep. For the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trump of God, and the dead in Christ shall rise first. Then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air, and so shall we ever be with the Lord. Wherefore, comfort one another with these words.
Pictures of you, all this still on my mind. You have the smile, the command of the world. Now it rains, it seems the sun never shines. And I drive down the lonely, lonely road. it hurts me way deep inside. When I turn and look and find that you're not there, I try to convince myself that the pain is still not gone. Still I try down the slowly, lonely road. Ooh, I got this feeling, girl, I gotta let you go. But now you got to fly to the angels. Heaven awaits your heart and flowers bloom in your name. Whoa, you got to fly to the angels. All the stars in the night shine in your name. And still I drive down this lonely, lonely road. Ooh, I got this feeling. Oh, I can't let you go. But I know that you got to fly to the angels. Heaven awaits your heart, and flowers bloom in your name. Whoa, you got to fly to the angels. All the stars in the sky shine in your name. Yeah.
Leave your body, Seymour. Leave your body.
Left below. Ooh, a He Is Risen production.
Rapture?
Oh, Mr. Thompson, what if your wife finds out?
It's modern times. Everyone's doing it. Where did my Christian limo driver go?
My pious husband is missing. The baby I chose to have baptized is gone.
Mr. Thompson, what's happening?
It's the rapture, Shauna. The rapture. The virtuous have gone to heaven, and the rest of us have been left below.
Left below? Where have I heard that before?
It's the title of the movie.
It's everywhere.
We were fools. And because we rejected God, tacitly accepting Satan, we must suffer through the apocalypse.
I thought all religions were a path to God. I was wrong.
Why did I put my faith in science and technology?
Oh, why did I choose to be gay? Oh, this movie will haunt me for the rest of my life.